Don't you understand what John is saying? John is saying, for those of you who believe, you have been joined with this thing called life, right? We use that word all the time here on earth, but we really don't have anything called life unless you have Jesus. You have existence, you have the fact that you're walking through a planet, but you really don't have life. Life is found in him. And John says, if you've believed, you have this inside of you, this life, this thing that goes on and on and on. Don't you hear the whole earth groaning in this moment? I loved, John had to be writing these words with big words because the entire earth was saying, look, that which was hidden in the garden, you remember the garden, there was a tree of life. You could go and just pluck life off of it and just eat it. I don't know what that looked like. It had to be amazing. It probably tasted incredible, but you could just go do that. And there was this angel that was placed out front of the garden. Now, this angel had a sword, and this sword was awesome, but it had the ability to distort reality, okay? And so this angel distorted the way. You couldn't see the way to life anymore. Man couldn't just run out of the desert and go find some life and eat it. That was gone. And so instead, I love that in this moment, John had to be writing with big words what the Spirit had revealed, and the Spirit had revealed that the way to life was back. We found the way to life. There is the new tree. There is the tree of life. It was Jesus. The way has been rediscovered. If you have the Son, you have life. I'm writing these things to those of you who believe to let you know, despite all the things that others are trying to tell you, you have something that's everlasting. Now, it's important to remember who John's writing to. Okay, we got to put ourselves in the story. And I don't say this in a talking down kind of way, because someday, 200 years from now, somebody will probably say it about me. But we're talking about a very simple people. Okay, this is a very different time frame. It's 2,000 years ago. So think about just the past 100 years, the amount of technology that's happened and the way that culture has changed. This was a very simpler time. Okay, and John is trying to convince those who were easily swayed. There were many who just, you remember even Paul wrote about being tossed by the wind, from one theology to the next. This is what people did. And so John is trying to assure them, look, these people that have come in and told you that you can lose your salvation, I'm telling you, it is impossible. What you have is eternal. And this eternal life that you have gives you a confidence. Oh, you get a confidence as a believer that whatever you ask of God, he hears you and he answers. That confidence is the opposite of a fear that you would have, is if God gave you some kind of life that you could lose. If you could lose it, you're going to be afraid your whole life. Did I lose it? And that's what we see in the church. This perpetual immaturity of, well, did I sin too much? Or did that one sin, did I get enough forgiveness of sin? Have I gotten all? And we make all of our lists. We make judgment calls upon each other. Well, that guy, he smoked a cigarette, so he's probably not Christian. We do all these kinds of things. Not here at Grace Church, but in the greater church, right? But let's settle this once and for all. You cannot lose your salvation. It is absolutely impossible to lose this thing that God has given you that he calls eternal.